Give you 3 guesses what I'm going to talk about today. Here's a hint. Put down a feeling. I'm high on believing that you're in love. So today I'm going to be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy and what I thought of it. If you can't tell by the smile on my face and the musical cue, I really enjoyed this. So far, after seeing Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and seeing Guardians of the Galaxy, if this is what Phase 3 is going to be like of the Marvel movies, I'm really excited. Yeah, it's really good. I think Captain America is going to be a part of this Phase 3. I'll be honest, I have a vague idea of what they've been talking about with Phase 3 and everything. I just know that Loki wasn't supposed to be a part of it, but then after Kevin Feige saw how well received Tom Hiddleston was at Comic-Con back in 2013 of last year, he's kind of, I think it's kind of like we need Loki, so he's probably going to be involved in this. Anyway, I didn't come here to talk about Loki, I came here to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy. It was so good. Okay, the things I really, really, really loved were Drax, Rocket, and Groot. I mean, Peter Quill and Gamora were both great, but just the Holy Trinity were Groot, Drax, and Rocket. They brought it together. I thought. I mean, I know everyone's kind of like they're all there for Rocket and Groot, and I get that they're both great, but I think Drax is fantastic. He was just great, and plus I love the fight scenes and David Bautista. I love that they got someone like Dave Bautista because he's like a fighter in his he's like a professional wrestler, I think, in his own right. So I'm sure he's kind of used to this sort of stunts and fighting like that. And I'm just like, oh my god! And the fight choreography, especially in the prison when he's wearing the yellow pants, it's I mean I don't really think of David Bautista like that, but I just he looked. I love the tattoos all over his body, and just the makeup was fantastic, and just the pant. I just love the movement he had, and the pants were really cool. It's not really a crush thing. It's just kind of he looked really good. It's just I think it's just an aesthetic thing, and I think he really owned it. So yeah, Drax is definitely one of my favorites. I love Rocket because I've heard that he's very Rocket's very gung ho and kind of very America, but I know I don't know if he's even American, but he sounds like it. He sounds American. Anyway, that's not the point. But but then you figure out his backstory. He's like, I didn't ask to be torn apart and put back together time after time. And you're just like, baby. And then his connection with Groot, and then Groot. Oh my God, Groot is just he is made of magic. He's just and just the way he can just. And I love that Vin Diesel was he's not no, I'm not just gonna say I am Groot. You gotta tell me what's happening so I can put emote and put my emotion in there. I am Groot. You're right, Groot, they are ungrateful. Or we are Groot. And I'm like, baby. It's I think the response you're gonna be getting is I am Groot. I just love that. And he's just full of magic with the fireflies coming from his hands. The way he took his finger and just grew it out and then stabbed it into Drax's chest so he could get the bad stuff out of him. And he grows and protects them. And he's just a badass, and the way he kind of roars and how he's just so cute. It's we need that battery thing last. But most importantly, yeah, I did show you the spoiler sign just to check, sorry. And it's yes, we do need that battery we do need that battery, but we need that last. And then Groot is just walking over there. And he just stretches up and grabs it, and Drax is just watching him kind of okay, cool. It's just so great. Oh my God, the comedy and the timing was just brilliant, and this film is amazing, and the soundtrack was really good too. I was re-listening to it last night because I really liked a lot of the music, and I didn't realize they had some people in there like David Bowie. I don't really know David Bowie all that well. I mean, I know some of his songs, so I mean, some. Anyway, it's cool that they had David Bowie in there, and I loved it when Quill is landing on that planet at the beginning, and he's just dancing his way through the ruins to try and find the orb. That was really cool, and it was amazing, and the makeup overall was just fantastic too. I'm sorry, just let me interject for a minute. I'm probably going to be jumping back and forth about all the things I liked. Oh, this is great, but then I keep thinking it's oh yeah, that was great too. So yeah, if I just jump around, don't be surprised. But yeah, I loved this movie so much, and it was just so funny. But it also gave you emotion, at the beginning with Peter and his mom, and just how he's listening to the headphones, and it's kind of like his security blanket. It's baby, it's okay. And oh, I love how the connection, like when at the beginning his mom's like, please take my hand, and he doesn't because he's hurting. And then later at the end when he's connected with, and then Gamora's like, here, take my hand, and they're holding the Infinity Gem, and Quill just kind of flashes to his mom. It's like, Mom, that was really, really sweet, and I love that. And just so many feels. So many feels. Oh my god. And just Rocket, though, was amazing. Bradley Cooper did a fantastic job because, frankly, if you didn't know that was Bradley Cooper, you probably wouldn't know that was Bradley Cooper because that doesn't really sound like him. But yes, I love the quips like they just balled up my pants. They didn't even fold them up like yours, Quill, and just all the things. Or like when he gets his gun, he's like, oh yeah, because he finally has like his gun again, and he's just so happy. And he's like, I need that guy's leg. Oh, you actually got it? I didn't really need that. I just want to see what you would do. You didn't need his leg. No, I didn't need his leg. So that was just hilarious. And so then he's like, I need that eye. It's like, no, 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 he doesn't need that eye. And I just love that. And what else did I love? I didn't think Ronan was that bad of a bad guy. I mean, like, I've heard some people are kind of like, Ronan wasn't really that much to write home about. And I mean, he's no Loki, and I'm not saying that, like, I mean, I am biased because I'm obsessed with Tom Hiddleston. Yeah, we'll just go with that. And then in the most gentle form of the way. But, like, Loki is a really good bad guy, though. And just, Ronan, he was nice to look at, and he had a really cool voice. And if I hadn't known that was Lee Pace, I probably wouldn't have known that was Lee Pace. I mean, not just because of his makeup, but the voice. I thought his makeup was really cool. Like, just, and the eyes and everything was really creepy. And plus, I loved at the beginning when it looks like he's naked, and I don't care. He looked really good. But then it looks like his backside's covered. It's like, oh, is he naked? And then he's like getting cleansed or baptized or whatever before he gets his costume or outfit put on. That was pretty cool. And Nebula, I had not heard that much about Nebula. I kind of was like, is she really not that much to write home about either? But I thought she was good. Just like she's snarky, and I love the makeup on her too. It's like, oh, Karen Gillan, you're so cool, and her voice sounded really neat, and just she was so cool. And I love it when Ronan goes to see Thanos, and Nebula's there. She's just kind of waiting around, and then after Ronan dismisses, Thanos dismisses Ronan, she's just very good, sarcastic. Goes, thanks, Dad. Always fun to see what you have to do. I know she really hates Thanos, rightly so, because Thanos is a dick. But just like it's just kind of funny. She still seems snarky around him. But I also really love the scene when Ronan takes the Infinity Gem and he's just like, "It's mine now," and he kind of tells Thanos where to stick it, and Nebula's kind of like, "Are you really gonna destroy the universe or something along those lines?" And he's like, "Yes, if you want to back out, like, if you turn against me, I will kill you." She's like, "No, destroy Thanos, and I'll help you destroy anything." And I'm just like, okay, wow, I really like that because it's like that just shows how much she really, really does not like Thanos. I mean, Gamora's the same way too. She's just, her family got slain by Thanos, and then he tore her apart and put her back as a weapon. And it's just like, babies, Thanos is a dick. It's just like, Christ Almighty, Thanos. I mean, we have to have a bad guy. I was really disappointed though. I didn't. Why did they get Josh? What's his name? Not Josh Groban, but that guy from No Country for Old Men. I mean, he's not bad, but why didn't they just stick with the other guy from the Avengers who was playing Thanos? I mean, he wasn't even in it that long, but he just turns and smiles. I was like, seriously, I wouldn't have even known that was the guy from No Country for Old Men. It just seemed kind of pointless because Thanos wasn't really in it that long, and it's like, seriously, Thanos looked more intimidating in the Avengers than he did in this. It's like, really? Now we see him, and it's like, just I didn't quite like that bit. That was kind of like, could have been better. I have very few problems with this movie. Someone did mention this in another review. That was kind of a good point. This film is very fast paced. Like, there's no room to breathe. It's just James Gunn just throws it at you. It's like, see, here, take it all. No breaks. She's no time to breathe. If you blink, you miss something, and that's kind of true. It wasn't that bad of a problem for me, but I want to go back and see it because there's just so much stuff that I'm like, I want to go back and just see what I might have missed if I closed my eyes. But it wasn't that wasn't really a problem. I don't think that detracted too badly. It really didn't detract at all. It's just I get maybe that was what he was playing. It's like, so that way you'll want to come back and see what you might have missed. So that was pretty cool. What else? Oh, The Collector, Benicio del Toro. I wish he would have been in it more. I mean, I love the part that he was in. That was really cool, and just how he's kind of Benicio del Toro's just kind of being. Well, I mean, he's a very good actor, but I just mean he's just being very. I think someone he described it as he's kind of like Liberace meets something else, but yeah, it's just very eclectic to say the least. And just like when he's talking to the pink lady, he's like, "You have elbows, don't you? Well, yes, then use them." And then Karina, I think is her name. I think Carmine. I don't. It sounds Italian, I think, but yeah. And I felt so bad for the pink lady when she's just looking at the Infinity Gem, and it's like I swear it's like when Frodo's looking at the One Ring, and she's just like, freedom, and she's like, I won't be your slave anymore. And then the other chick who's like the last pink lady who's in the back, she's just like knocking on her door, like, no, 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 don't do it, don't do it. And then she grabs it, and it's like, baby. I mean, I didn't really know what the deal was with that, but it's just like, oh, poor thing. Poor thing. And then I love it at the end when the collector is just sitting there with his like margarita glass or something, and then Comet the dog comes back, and then we see Howard the duck. That was weird, but it's like, hey, I guess they're kind of just doing a toss up to the '80s. It's like, hey, here you go, '80s. Even though I think Howard the Duck looks really stupid, not like in the movie, but I mean like just the movie Howard the Duck. It looks really creepy. Never watched it. Anyway, but yeah, that was just it's kind of cool to see all those cameos. Also, like with the little troll doll that Peter put in the orb that he gave to Xandu at the end. It was real. That was fun. Or was it Yan? I think it was Xandu or Yandu. The red guy. Excuse me. Excuse me. The blue guy with the red thing on his head with the arrow that he had to whistle to kill people. That scene was really cool. Like when he just, I was always kind of like, I really want to see this when he uses his arrow because he's just been kind of doing it the whole time, and so then he gets to finally use it to take down those guys, and it's like, yeah, that was really cool. And let's see what else. I talked about the choreography, that was great. Groot is amazing, and he's just full of magic and wind and squee and beauty. And I love that he's brought back. It's like, Groot, baby, no. And then I love how broken up Rocket is. It's like he's not just his bodyguard slash muscle. But I mean, he kind of is. But they're like a team. Like Groot's kind of like, we'll split it 3 ways, and then Groot just kind of looks and it's like, I am Groot. And it's like, okay, 4 ways, and then Rocket's like, all you think about is money, Groot, and it's like, oh, and I also love the collector when he looks at when he finally sees Groot, he kind of is just like, oh, how much do you want for him? Like, not like in a sexual way, but just kind of like he's never seen a Groot before. So that was really cool, and I love that. What else? I keep thinking back to Drax because I think Drax is just amazeballs. I love just the movements of him. It's like it's just he's very aesthetically pleasing in terms of just like the makeup, just his build, and just how he moves. It's like it's not quite lusty, but it's just like I find it aesthetically pleasing. Him aesthetically pleasing. Like, does that make sense? But yeah, I was just I do think Dave Bautista really did own that part, and I know I said this earlier, but I really really do love that they got a professional wrestler fighter guy to play this guy because he just moves so well, and it's like, oh, you're so good at movement and just you're fighting, and just oh yeah, speaking of which, Groot is amazing with his fighting. He just impales those guys on his arm or finger, and he just goes whacking them back and forth when they're on Ronan's ship. It's like whack 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 whack. It's like, Groot, you badass. So yeah, that was great. And Gamora. Two things I really like about Gamora. One, I guess it would be like when Quill's getting her to telling her about Footloose and Kevin Bacon, and that was I was kind of like, oh god, like that was the one part I wasn't. I was like, please, no, I don't want to see that. I don't. I mean, I didn't want to see that ridiculously obvious forced coming on romance. It's like, okay, here it comes. And then she pulls out her knife and is like, no, I will not be won over by your pelvic hypnosis or whatever she calls it. I'm like, okay, good, yay. I did like the music though, and I was like, it wasn't that bad, but I was like, please, no, none of that. I it didn't need to happen. I think they could be fine just as friends. I mean, it's quite clear that Quill was concerned about her and clearly had the hots for her. But it's just like, please don't do that. It's just so typical. Although they didn't really do that in Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Another reason I love that film to pieces. Although I think you could definitely argue that Bucky and Steve were kind of like that. It's like, but since that's can't, well, because even though it's the 21st century, two guys getting it on together in a Marvel film is just not ready to happen yet, I guess. Sarcasm. I don't know. It'll happen eventually. Hope so. Anyway, sorry, I got off topic a little bit there. So yeah, I kind of like that she was like, nope, not happening. But I also loved the bit when they first take her to the prison and everyone's just like, they were like, oh, we're gonna kill you and ruin you and fuck you up. And then, and she's just like, whatever. But then when they put her in like solitary confinement or that little room and then they're like hitting on the glass and she kind of jumps a little, it's like, okay, cool. So she's actually scared. And I mean, rightly so, because like, afterwards they're like, go, if you're gonna kill her, go do it in the shower so there's less blood to clean up. And it's like, wow, that's just, it's kind of creepy because it's like, just when you, I don't know, I've just, after all the films I've seen when you're in this situation with prison and people are kind of like, we're gonna get you, it's like, it really just kind of, I kind of got a creepy feeling when I saw that. I'm like, I mean, I know nothing, I know since it's a superhero film and it's this type of film, it's not, nothing too bad's gonna happen, but just, I still kind of got nervous. I'm like, it was just really disconcerting to see all those guys holding her down, and then they were just like, if you're gonna go kill her, do it over there, and it's like, just that made me really uncomfortable. Maybe that's what they were going for, but it's like it just kind of made me think. Does that make sense? Maybe, I don't know. It could just be me. So yeah, but I did quite like that because I guess you could see her vulnerability, and it wasn't just like Thanos killed my parents and I've had to see my parents then I've been torn apart. It's like it's an immediate kind of fear. It's not like a long drawn out fear like from your past. It's like in this immediate moment, it's like I'm probably going to get fucked up very badly, even though she's like a badass, she can totally hold her own, but still it's like all those guys, and then Drax comes in, and I kind of knew it wasn't going to be so bad when Drax came in, because Drax is part of the team, so it's like, and I did kind of like it when Quill was trying to talk Drax down. It's like, when you want to, after we're done with all this, you can, and then Drax is just like, why would I run my finger across her throat? And then Quill's just like, no, that's like a universal term for killing her, cutting her throat, things like that. And it's like, come on, everyone gets it. And then she has the guy like, you get it, right? And it's like, the guy's like, yeah. And it's like, no. And it's like, and Quill's just like, okay, well, the large majority of people get it. And then I love it when Drax is like, I like this knife, I'm gonna keep it. And then the guy's like, that's my favorite knife. But it's like, I like that. So, yeah, I mean, I do like it. Yeah, I was kind of worried that Gamora was just Gamora. Excuse me, I have trouble pronouncing her name. I don't know why Gamora. But yeah, I heard that she might be a little kind of typical female, but I think it could have been worse. One thing I kind of didn't really get though about the thing with Gamora was towards the climax when they're on Ronan's ship and Drax calls her a whore. It's like, why? There's been nothing to show that she is a whore. I'm not trying to defend that or anything, but I'm just like, that really wasn't necessary. Not like you shouldn't call her a whore, but it's like you could have called her so many other things and you called her a whore because like there was nothing to indicate she was a whore. Sorry, I saw that on Tumblr and then I guess I was like, okay, well I haven't seen you said so maybe it's a different context. But then I saw it and I'm like, yeah, that was not necessary. That you could have had so many other things. Maybe he wanted to call her a bitch, but although I don't see how that would be a problem because Rocket was cursing left and right like, oh shit. And I think they even had a bit where they're like, oh fuck. And it like cuts off, I think. But it's like, you couldn't just drop that in. Or maybe, I don't know, I guess shit's okay, but God forbid you say bitch. This is just my thought. I could be way off and they could have just been like, no, we just thought that would be kind of funny. It's like, you could have done something else. You could have said something else, although I'm sure I would be saying this too if they had been like, oh, you slut, or you whatever. But just, I don't know. I didn't like that. That was one thing I was kind of like, of all the things you could have called her. I mean, and when Groot is drinking from the water fountain and Rocket's just like, Groot, come on, you're a professional, act like it. And Groot's just kind of like, what? And he's like, I just saw you drinking from the fountain, don't do that. Oh, and I love it when Groot and Rocket are chasing after Quill and they're like, yeah, put him in the bag, put him in the bag. It's like, a bag? Really? It's just, I love that. That just, yeah, I really liked Rocket. But I really loved Groot and I really loved Drax. Like, seriously, those are my holy trinity of favorites. I mean, like, I think everyone was really good. Yeah, everyone was really good. It just that they were kind of the ones who stuck out to me. And I can't wait for the next one. So yeah, I thought that was good. Goodness time. So yeah, I liked it. I totally would recommend it. I want to go back and see it again. And yeah, so I think that's it. If you haven't seen it yet, you should go see it. It's totally worth it. Um, oh, I didn't go see it in 3D. Just I have no interest in 3D at all, so I'm just like whatevs. But I've heard it's really good in 3D. So if that's any interest to you, you might check that out. But yeah, so it was great. Go see it, and I will stop here. I will talk to you later. Bye.